Once again, a very warm welcome to all of our attendees this morning. I'm sure you've been bombarded with tips to continually prevent COVID-19 all the time. You're being reminded of this constantly, either by social media, visiting your clients in your own companies, as well as on these Toolbox talks. So we don't want to spend too much time on discussing things that are not pertaining to our Toolbox talk, but we do want you to please continually try and prevent COVID-19 by ensuring you adhere to the protocols set out by the directives of the government, as well as adhering to these few tips while you are working throughout the week. Now, to start off with, first of all, we hope you enjoyed your long weekend, and we thank you very much for taking the time out to look at this Toolbox talk. And let's see if we can maybe assist you in some way with discussing geysers or the dangers of geysers, especially around the incorrect installation of geysers. Now, we've designed a course directed more at occupational health and safety professionals. And we want to discuss this course with you because it's coming out. It's actually already been recorded. The entire webinar recording basically has been sent through to SIOSH. And what we are trying to achieve is we want to get SIOSH to not only accredit this with CPD points, but to send it out to the entire membership base. So as plumbers in the industry, we wanted to come to you and discuss with you what we are trying to achieve with this course and see if we cannot get some sort of assistance from yourself as well. As it is a Toolbox talk in the morning, we are going to be discussing geysers, the dangers of geysers, and how during the course of the week, the coming weeks, the months of installing geysers, you do it according to your SAN standard and also in a healthy and safe way. So yes, it is still going to be a Toolbox talk, but at the end of this, we will also see how it is going to be benefiting safety professionals who select contractors on site that have to come on and do the plumbing as well. So let's get straight into it. Is obviously the dangers of non-compliance in the plumbing industry, specifically speaking about non-compliant installations. Now, there is no doubt that we need plumbers. And there is no doubt that we all need clean running water to drink or to cook with. Now, as a plumber, you provide us with hot water. And this is for order, in order for us to bath or shower. And the plumbing itself, which is a system of pipes, tanks, fittings, and other apparatus required for water supply, heating, and sanitation in a building, is all there to protect us from potential diseases. And that's why you can see, among other things, as plumbers, you would give us water, both hot and cold, as well as waste removal, which obviously gives us good hygiene within our buildings and homes. Now, we can truly say that a plumber helps us within the health and safety industry because you help us with sanitation, you help us with hygiene, you help us to promote health through clean water. You also help to keep us safe as well as protect the environment by removing bad odors and waste that causes illness and disease, and also could potentially cause contaminated ground. Now, this is all what we are trying to bring across to health and safety professionals, that plumbers actually work with us. So yes, you've got a job to do and you must do it in accordance with safety specifications. And we appreciate every single one of you plumbers out there that are going above and beyond to ensure that your safety files, your training, and your entire management system around health and safety is also communicated across the board to your staff members. And this creates what we call a behavioral-based safety system, that each person is actually working in accordance with the system that you have designed. Now, what we want to achieve with this course that we have obviously recorded, it's going to be very much similar to the design that you see at the moment. There's a few slides that we've just excerpted out of the actual course that we want to discuss with you today, just to give you a general idea of what we are trying to achieve with this information. But there's a lot more, and obviously we'll make it available to all plumbers so that you could send it to your clients as well. But really, water is life, as we can see there. We need it every single day. But there are dangers, and you yourself would know the dangers of incorrect installations. Now, when it comes to geyser installations, and this is obviously where our Toolbox talk information will also come in, because as plumbers in the industry, if we are not doing our installation correctly, it can become a potential explosion later on. In fact, when geysers are installed incorrectly, they can cause massive damage to property and even put our life at risk. You see, explosions are possible with both gas as well as electric tank water heaters, primarily those that are, first of all, poorly installed or poorly maintained. Now, obviously, what we are trying to achieve, once again, as we mentioned, with the entire course that we've designed, or the video that we've designed around this information, is first of all to explain to them that they can avoid this type of catastrophe when they identify the contractor, specifically a plumbing contractor, that is best suited to providing a compliant plumbing installation, one that is according to SANS, as well as backed by a PRB certificate of compliance. Now, as plumbers in the industry, you will understand how important it is to be competent in an installation, whether you've trained in certain aspects of plumbing or because you've got the information, you've got the training, you've got the certification, and you are backed in a company that is doing it safely. This is what we call competent. You are trained, you are qualified, you have the skills, and this is really what we want to achieve in explaining to safety professionals out there that the dangers of incorrectly installing geysers leaves residual risk to the end user. Now, we understand that while you are on site, most plumbers have to ensure that everything that they do is according to a safety specification of the client. The rest of the plumbers will do it according to their own safety specifications because the client doesn't provide it. It's generally a private client at a home. But all of us have to work in accordance with some sort of safety specification, whether you're doing it in accordance with minimum compliance in terms of the Occupational Health and Safety Act, ensuring you are doing it with a risk assessment, you've been trained, you do your registers and checklists every day, you perform your weekly toolbox talks like we are doing this morning, as well as doing your inspections on the actual equipment that you are installing. But what we want to bring across is to ensure they use an IOPSA registered plumber and insist on a PIRB certificate of compliance for repairs, replacements, as well as maintenance done on a geyser. And this is also a very interesting part because when a geyser is installed correctly, that is only one part of the process. In order to ensure it is constantly kept safe, it needs to be maintained by someone who also knows and understands that installation. And this is the same with any type of safety specification, isn't it so? If you are on site and you have a safety file, if you're not filling it in, if you're not doing your registers and checklists, if you don't sign your risk assessment or update your full protection plans and update your training, in fact, you're not maintaining your safety file, then it becomes dormant. It becomes non-compliant. Well, this is the same as a geyser, isn't it? If the maintenance is not done, if we do not maintain it correctly and in accordance with the SANS regulations, it becomes non-compliant over time. So, in order to protect our families, our employees, and the lives of others, what we want to get across to health and safety professionals is to ensure that they are using a registered, compliant, approved plumber. Now, if this is something that you really want done in the industry, to get rid of those fly-by-night companies that come out, perform installations of geysers that are so terrible that pictures like this keep coming into our inbox every day from audits that are being done saying these geyser installations are incorrectly done, then please assist us with the information that we can get across to the OHS professionals. As I mentioned, we have recorded this session. We have sent it through to SIOSH, and we are just waiting to hear from them whether they want this done in a full webinar, if we're going to do a series of webinars, or if they're going to take this video that we've designed and just put it onto a YouTube channel or send it through to their members. But we'd like some more information from you, some more pictures that you've seen. And please, you can get in touch with myself, chris@ohss.co.za. I will put my email address up at the end of this toolbox talk. But let's discuss a case study. For those of you who perhaps are putting in geysers at the moment and maybe didn't know the danger of an incorrect geyser. This happened in 2006 in Kimberley, SA. Obviously, a man died after a geyser exploded. And as you can see there, emergency services are carrying a man who had been shot through the roof when he was trying to fix it. So again, he's not using a registered compliant plumber. He's trying to do it on his own. Why? Because a lot of our clients feel that it's such a small job that they could do it on their own. Well, is this the case? Not at all. We are requiring people to please call out a registered and competent plumber in order to fix, maintain, or repair their geysers. Why? Well, in this case, it cost the man his life. So again, we are constantly going to bring out, please ensure you use a registered and competent plumber. Now, this is just one of the many cases that we have heard. There is another one where this man, Mr. Jan Hendrik Swanepoel, obviously that did die because of the geyser that exploded. They wanted to find out why did the geyser explode? Was it really because this person was working on it? Well, to a degree, yes. You should not have been working on that geyser. You should have called out a plumber. But you will notice that the thermostat malfunctioned and didn't switch off. And what this caused was the water to continue to boil without a proper outlet. The geyser then exploded and killed Mr. Swanepoel. Now, you will notice in this article that the chairperson of the Institute of Plumbing in the Free State region, Mr. Gert Fraser, he noticed that 100 liters of water is equal to 1 kilogram of dynamite if the geyser exploded. He said that the public must ensure that they use a qualified plumber when dealing with geysers, and they should only use a plumber who is familiar with the SANS 1025-4 that governs the installation and maintenance of geysers in South Africa. Now, if you're not aware of this SANS standard, please get in touch with IOPSA or PRB. Ask them to get you this information or get you trained on this information. If you are already trained on this information, please tell us a little bit more about how you go about ensuring your geyser is safe. We would love to take that information and include it in some follow-up feature information to OHS professionals. And because we are members of SIOSH, as well as corporate and technical members, what we want to do is generate as much information on getting them to know and understand why they should be using a registered and competent plumber. This not only means that we will be using more of you out there who are registered and competent, but also there will be an increase in awareness both to the health and safety professionals and the end user of these geysers. And that's really what we want to achieve. Not many people really discuss with them the newspapers nowadays. They don't really take newspapers home. Not many people read newspapers anymore. So what we want to do is use the power of the internet as well as social media to get all this information to the end user. And if we can have your assistance in that, please, we are asking you to give us that backing and support. So what we are going to do is we're going to put this on our websites. We're going to put it on our social media posts. We'll send out information on where you can find this information and also share it with others that are on your group. Now, if you'd like to do that, if you'd like to be involved in something like this, we please ask you to, again, get in touch with us. Now, there's two other things that can become very dangerous with the incorrect installation of plumbing, specifically when it comes to geysers and hydroboils, things like that. The first one is scalding. Now, if there is incorrect pressure, the residual dynamic pressure at the fittings vary more than 20%, this is obviously non-compliant and could result in scalding or cold surges. Now, scalding is very, very dangerous. In fact, it's dangerous even for you as a plumber when you are testing or repairing or replacing something on the actual geyser. And so we want to please encourage each and every one of you and know and understand how maintenance must be done as well. You see, if we want our clients, as well as health and safety professionals, to always only use approved and qualified plumbers, we need you to represent yourself as approved and qualified plumbers. And so when you do go out there when we are going to really take this information and put it across over the next few months and really try and get as many health and safety professionals and members of the public made aware of this type of danger, when they call you as an approved plumber, we need you then to hold up your end of the health and safety legislation. So please remember, scalding is a form of thermal burn resulting from heated fluids like in a hydroboil or a geyser. This could also be from water or steam. Now, most scalding or scalds are considered to be first or second degree burns, but it can result in third degree burns, especially with prolonged contact. Now, what we want to obviously explain to our end user is if your geyser is not correctly maintained, and this type of incorrect pressure that happens without proper maintenance, or if it's not done in accordance with your SANS 10-25-4 standard, if they ran water and hopped in without testing that water, well, there's the possibility for scalding, putting their child or infants into the water while it is still running. How many people forget their children inside? They're just running to grab a phone call. Yes, aside from the drowning of infants that constantly happen, they could also get first, second, or third degree burns. Now, yourself as a qualified and competent plumber, you know SANS 10-25-4 standard, and you will also be able to assist in the correct setting of the hot water supply. Well, we want to get this information to them. If the hot and cold water delivery pressure to the water mixing components is not balanced, this could also result in scalding or cold surges. The danger there is scalding. The second danger is Legionella. Now, we did a whole month-long toolbox talk as well as awareness program on the Legionnaires disease, as well as the genus Legionella, which is a pathogenic group of gram-negative bacteria. And this includes a species called L. pneumophila. And this causes the legionellosis or Legionella, Legionnaire's disease, as well as Pontiac's fever. Geysers that are not correctly maintained, installed, and are not operating at the correct water temperatures will allow Legionella to grow. So during wintertime, most say it's so cold, they would rather drop the temperature of their geyser, first of all, to save electricity, and then also not to add in more cold water. So they only are using their hot water, and so they drop it to smaller temperatures. Legionella thrives between 20 to 45 degrees Celsius, and it will continue to grow, and it will continue to become more prevalent in a person's home at those temperatures. And so we know as plumbers, we have to ensure that the geyser boils to a certain point. Most geysers will take you up to about 50 to 60 degrees Celsius for at least an hour in the day. And that will then kill any waterborne diseases and bacteria. Specifically, in this case, we are talking about Legionella, and this gram-negative bacteria that thrives naturally in soil and water all around us. And so there's nothing you can put in that water to get rid of it, or put piping through some sort of filters. This will become naturally prevalent because it lays dormant in the water and then will start breeding as soon as temperatures stay between 20 and 45 degrees Celsius. So yes, we want to save electricity. That is great. Obviously, we want to do everything that we can in terms of ensuring that our natural resources around us are not wasted. But at the same time, we do not want to do one thing and cause another problem. So when it comes to performing plumbing throughout the week, perhaps you are going to go to a client and install a geyser. Please remember, as a plumber, the hazards to your clients and your customers is the same hazards that you're going to face to a degree. But you will also be exposed to additional hazards, the use of power tools, the use of hand tools, even COVID at the moment, something that all of us are trying to become aware of. But at the same time, please remember the residual risks. What is the risk when I leave that client's home? Does my client know and understand the dangers of the installation that I had just put in for them? Or perhaps, do they know and understand the importance of using a plumber that is registered with IOPSA, with PRB, getting a certificate of compliance for their installation? Why is it a requirement for all electrical installations to have a COC, but not all plumbing installations to have a COC? You see, at the end of the day, the risk is potential fatalities. If you're going to get scalding or Legionella, yes, these are very dangerous, but the danger of fatality is there with an explosion from a geyser, or perhaps a geyser bursting and having boiling hot, scalding water pouring out of that roof. Now, if it is done by a qualified and competent plumber who knows SANS 10.25.4 standard, these types of things can be mitigated. So are you trying to raise this awareness? Well, if you are willing to assist us, please get in touch. So we're going to leave you with a few minutes at the end of this program just to give you some reminders on what we have done at IOPSA to assist you in terms of COVID, as well as the COVID protocols and reminders. But we do want to ask you, please get in touch with us if you can. Use that info@ohss.co.za. You can WhatsApp me on 071-875-2070, or you can get directly in touch with the safety department at IOPSA. Please use safety@iopsa.org. Now, what we want from you is as much information as possible on how you perform your maintenance inspections, your repairs, your installations safely, and also what you would say to your client in order to assist them to know and understand the dangers of incorrect plumbing installations. And if you've come across this and you've got any photos or pictures or videos, please send this to us as well. And we appreciate to a very large degree many of you who have reached out and given us some assistance in this respect. Thank you.